Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, if any good has come from the pandemic, it's that all of us are keenly aware that we're not taking such good care of ourselves. We'll be talking to a leading national expert about how to improve your mind, body, and spirit. That's next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, let's face it, during the pandemic, all of us have been doing the wrong things to ourselves. We're eating too much, we're drinking too much, we're not getting enough sleep, and this is a time when you really should be fortifying your immune system. To talk about that today, Victor Briere, he is with IITVS in Northern California. Thank you for coming on the show, Victor.
Thanks for having me, Jeff.
Well, I want to hear your backstory because you have a completely different approach to medicine than most people do. And it started with a back injury, is that right?
That's right. When I was about 18 years old, I noticed that I had this nagging feeling underneath my shoulder blade, and it wasn't going away. And I grew up in Los Angeles, so I just went through kind of the normal channels. I went to the doctor sent me to a specialist sent me to another specialist, got an MRI, went to another specialist. And at the end of the story, it was basically like, sorry, but we don't know exactly what this is, and we can either give you surgery or painkillers, your call. I personally wasn't willing to go down either of those roads at my age, and it wasn't such a terrible disease that I was forced to, thankfully. So I, on the recommendation of a friend, I started practicing yoga asana, which is yoga postures. And basically through the course of that practice, relieved my pain. That opened up a world to me that, hey, there's this whole health world out there that I wasn't aware of, and launched me on a journey, ultimately meeting my current yoga teacher who introduced me to Ayurveda.
All right, explain that, because you didn't invent it. I mean, it goes back thousands of years. But how does it work?
Ayurveda works basically by trying to uphold 3 pillars of your health. The first is sleep. The second is food, or food and nourishment, water and breath as well. And the third is actually relationship. And all 3 of those are under threat right now in this COVID time.
Wow. Well, we found a great overview video on your website. Let's go ahead and roll that now.
We're in Gualala, California, at our clinic, Pacific Coast Ayurveda, and the Pacific Coast Center for Yoga and Ayurveda. Most of us go through our days in a perpetual fight or flight response. When you're in fight or flight, your digestion is inhibited, your relaxation response is inhibited. All of the things that actually you're supposed to be experiencing on a daily basis throughout the day aren't happening. And so what Shirodhara and other Ayurvedic therapies do is to help you switch off that switch from being in a fight or flight response to being in a rest and relax response. And only in that state of a rest and relax response can the body actually heal.
A dosha is a biological function in the body. And Ayurveda talks about 3 primary doshas: Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. And there's a distribution of all those elements in my system. And when they're well proportioned and well distributed, according to my own personal constitution, not someone else's, is when I will experience health. If it goes out of proportion in any way that's not in accordance with my own personal constitution, I will start to experience ill health.
I had been experiencing chronic stomach pain, bloating, H. pylori. I've been taking herbs and doing treatments and following the recommended dietary requirements. And the results have been life-changing for me, honestly, life-changing. My digestive system is functioning really well now, and the pain is gone, the H. pylori is gone. This has just been amazing, and I would recommend it to anybody.
Small amounts of coconut olive.
Wow, I'm impressed, Victor, and I think it takes people on a journey, because I think certainly for at least the last half century, we've all been taught, if you're feeling sick, go to your doctor and get a pill. But often, you know, I'm sure you run into people who have been taking 15 different pills that might be, you know, causing crazy reactions in their body. You were telling me a success story recently. Would you share that with me?
Yeah, the idea that we got to take a pill is basically an idea that came from learning how to manage symptoms. So I'm not feeling very good, so take something and hopefully I feel better, and I'm back in it. I'm back doing what I want to be doing on a day-to-day basis. But so many people come and, like you said, Jeff, the pills aren't working, or I need a pill for my pill, you know, the side effects of my pills. And I see one success story in particular that's very recent, is a very common illness, hypertension, high blood pressure. And very young lady comes into my office, very strong career. Actually, she's a neurobiologist, a PhD in neurobiology. She's very well immersed and very familiar with the pill world, as I like to say, and comes in and says, I'm taking medication for hypertension. I've got 2 kids. I work in the lab all day. I can't afford to be taking medication the rest of my life and experiencing the side effects. So it's like, okay. And the way she's saying it is very fast and intense and stressed out. And that's exactly it. That's the source of her hypertension, or at least one of the major causes of her hypertension right there, is the level of stress, the level of gripping, the intensity, the stress from even having to take the pill, and what it's going to mean for her life and her future, is creating part of the hypertension symptoms. So we want to go to the root. The root's not the taking the pill. The root is not, you know, this or that. The root is the anxiety, stress levels, what she's eating every day, how she's sleeping, which, by the way, is not well at all, as you may have guessed, and so on and so forth, how she's relating. What is her relationship like with her family? What's her relationship like with her employees and employer? And so we start with the basics, breathing techniques, extremely powerful. The breath affects the diaphragm, which affects your vagus nerve, which affects everything in your body. What are you eating? If you're eating too heavy or too light or the wrong foods, it's going to aggravate your immune response. That's going to create inflammation. Inflammation constricts the blood vessels, and there you go, you have hypertension. And so on and so forth. I mean, I can go on forever.
No,
but within a few weeks, hypertension's gone. Doesn't need the medication anymore.
This is wonderful, and you said that your business has actually increased because of the pandemic, and you can now do Zoom consulting across the globe, can't you?
Yeah, actually, in a weird way, it's become more expansive. COVID has opened people's minds to, hey, actually, I can talk to someone who's in California, even though I'm in New York or Dallas, and I can get real solid advice on how to improve my life by tomorrow.
And it seems like people are really searching right now. I think we're all kind of waking up and saying, you know, when I watch TV, all I'm seeing are ads for pills. And America keeps getting sicker and sicker. What's wrong with the math here? I mean, are you seeing more people kind of waking up and saying, we've been going down a dangerous path?
Yes, more, but not enough. The people who come in, they often come in with this bravado, and it's like, okay, I'm ready to make a change, and they are. But then when they hit their personal fears or personal blocks, they are still tending to want to cling to the pill. And the pill is very rarely the answer. The pill can only buy you a little bit more time. The answers are in changing the lifestyle.
So Victor, when somebody is working with you for the first time, are you trying to get to the root of, you know, why let's suppose they're abusing substances, or they're not sleeping? Are you trying to get to the root of why, you know, why are they, you know, boozing it up or you know, taking drugs?
Absolutely. Try to get to the root pretty immediately. Of course, we need to have some tact in doing so. But honestly, the biggest thing when I first talk to someone is, hey, I'm here to help you. I want to build a trusting relationship, because that's what's going to get us through the hard moments when, you know, it's all fine and good to say, I'm going to give up coffee, I'm going to give up alcohol, I'm going to give up whatever my addiction is. But when it comes to actually putting it down, you need to have someone you can trust on the other side with you.
That's awesome. Well, and I think you're a very comforting spirit. You give off a great energy, even via Zoom here, so I can see why you're so successful. We're almost out of time, so we're going to put your website up, and please give everybody the domain name so they can get in touch.
Yeah, the domain is IITVSschool.org.
Outstanding. Victor, you've been amazing. I hope you'll come back again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jeff.
You bet. And that's it for now. We'll see you next time.